My name is Arun, and in this tutorial I'll be giving you an introduction on vector art. I use a software called Inkscape to create it. Inkscape is a free to use vector graphics creator similar to Adobe Illustrator. When you open Inkscape, you'll be greeted with this interface. You can make changes to the type of document you're working with by clicking on File, Document Properties, and you can make changes to things such as the type of page you're working with, such as an A4 page. And you can change from portrait to landscape, and you can also change the size of the page, and you can change the color of the page, the border and the desk. So for this tutorial today, we're going to be working with a landscape page, and we're also going to be changing the color of the page to white. This will make it so the graphics we work with stand out more. So in this example, let's create a square. And by using the select tool, we can move the square around the screen or make it bigger and larger. And to get more in depth with editing basic shapes, we can select the square with the select tool, click on Path, Object to Path, and then double click on the square. And see these really small squares on each side? These are called anchor points, and by clicking and dragging on each of the anchor points, we can edit the proportions of this shape in any way we see fit. When it comes to the edge of this shape, we can also edit that by clicking in between two anchor points. So for example, these two anchor points at the top, we hover our mouse in between them, click and hold and drag. We can also change the color of this basic shape by using the select tool, selecting the shape, and then selecting any of the colors on the bottom of our screen. So for this tutorial today, we're going to replicate a vector of this illustration, and we'll create it in a vector format in which we can scale and size it so it doesn't become blurry in any way. So to begin with, let's right click the sketch, click on Layers and Objects, and here's an overview of every layer in Inkscape that's active, in which we can hide it, make it visible, and we can lock it in place. By locking it in place, it means that if we click on the sketch, there's no way we can move it around, and it'll be easy to create a vector using this sketch as a guide. So to begin with, let's make the head of the fox. So for starters, let's zoom in. Let's make a new layer by clicking this plus icon here. Now that it's in its own layer, if we make a shape, it will be in its own layer as opposed to the layer with a sketch in it. This helps us to keep things more organized and makes things easier to work with. So to begin with making the head of the fox, let's manipulate this square. So Object to Path, and now we have these anchor points to work with to mold into the shape of the head of the fox. So let's create an anchor point in the middle here. Bring it up here. Click and drag so we get a rounded edge at the top. Let's change the color of this. So right click, fill in stroke. Raise the opacity, and we'll change. Let's go with this orange shade. now let's work on the ears. So again, let's begin with a basic square. We can make it a bit transparent so we can see the square as well as the sketch behind it. It'll make it easier for us to line up at anchor points as we mould this square into the shape of the fox. Once we're happy with that, let's right click, copy, and then let's paste it here. And we can use this for its other ear. To flip the orientation, we will highlight the ear, go on Object, flip horizontal. We can also use the measurements here by holding and dragging down from the top of the screen, which gives us a straight line. This will help us keep both ears at a level. To make the inside of its ear, let's go ahead and make another copy and paste. Let's go with a darker shade so it stands out more. And we can scale it down. And then let's copy that, paste it, flip it horizontal. I can use that for the other ear. You may notice that sometimes the orientation might be off, and we want this part to be in front. As you can see, it's going behind the head of the fox. We can do this by here on the top of the screen where we see these arrows. We can raise the selection or we can lower the selection. So in this case, we want to raise it to bring it to the front. Now let's get started with the rest of the head. Let's begin with a square. Let's go with a slightly brighter shade this time. That's going to be at the back, so we're going to lower the selection. Create an anchor point. Let's create an anchor point here. Let's zoom in a bit so we can get a bit more precision into editing this. Notice how I'm using a combination of manipulating anchor points, creating new ones, and dragging the edge to create rounded edges. And then we're going to utilize a similar technique like we did for the arm. And now we've completed our vector of the fox. So let's hide our sketch. And now that we have a fox in a vector format, we can go ahead and scale it, and it's not going to lose any quality whatsoever. Thank you for taking the time to look at this tutorial, and I hope it helped.